What is up, ladies and gentlemen? My name is Blackblade and welcome back to my channel. And for today, I would like to share to you guys a monk build that can do Torment level 1. Now, before I start, I would like to apologize to you guys if I haven't really made any videos lately. Reason being, I have a lot of work and I have a lot of projects, lined up. That's why I haven't really found any time to, play the game since it's released. Alright, so let's get into the build proper. Number one, I'm using Deadly Reach with the rune, Scattered Blows. Now, the reason that I'm using this skill is because for kiting purposes. Now, as you can see, with this skill, you can basically kite champion packs and elite mobs without generally being hit. Hold on, that's my phone. So yeah, I'm sorry about that. So the skill is usually for kiting purposes. But if you can tank the damage and you can be, if you have a lot of life, you can probably use Fist of Thunder or Crippling Wave or Way of 100 Fist. It is generally up to you, but for me, I really like the kiting advantage of the skill. Now, for my for my main damage dealer, I'm using the 7-sided strike with the fulminating onslaught. Simply because sometimes the elite mobs and champion packs are all clustered together, and each time you hit one, it explodes and it deals a 977 weapon damage on a 7-yard radius. And of course, multiply that by 7. Each of them dealing, each of your hits dealing 977 percent weapon damage to a 7-yard radius, and it will completely annihilate a good chunk or a good set of white elite trash mobs. So it's a pretty good skill. But if you're but if you want a really full damage single target rune, I suggest that you go with Sudden Assault. As you can see there, teleport to the enemy and increase the damage dealt to 6,477 weapon damage over 7 strikes. So this is just pure massive overkill if you want a more concentrated effect. Alright, for my 1 to 4 skills, first of all, I'm using the Serenity. This is with the Rune Ascension. This of course is my This of course is my panic button. It's like when you're getting ganked up and you're taking so many damage and you want to get out. You just pop in Serenity and just run away from the pack. And also, of course, that will be anti-freeze. It will be basically it will be anti-CC. So if you can get away without it, then you'd probably be off using other damaging skills, or probably some where is it? Alright, probably some dashing strike for some movement skills. But for me, I think this is really important if you're doing Torment level 1, simply because the mobs here hit really hard. And even the elite, and especially of course the elite packs and the champion packs. Now, for my number 2, I'm using a blinding flash, simply because I actually Oh yeah, it's the Breath of Heaven. Sorry, I'm using the Blinding Flash simply because that it will really be an advantage to you guys, or to us, if we could blind the enemies for at least 3 seconds. Because sometimes they're doing so much damage, and just blinding them makes them halt and stop for 3 seconds. So it has so this actually has two properties, or two advantages. One is to stop them from doing damage, and number 2 is it can be used for escape. If you're being ganked up and you want to get out of the situation, blind them and then get out of the area. Now, I am using the Faith in Light rune, simply because that, as you can see there, we deal a 29% increased damage for 3 seconds after using Blinding Flash. Alright, so there is actually a combo here, and as you can see, I'm also using the Mystic Rhythm as one of my passives. Every third hit from the Spirit Generator increases the damage of your next damaging Spirit Spender by 40%. So there's actually a combo here. First, what you do is you hit Blinding Flash, and then you hit for 3 seconds, for 3 Deadly Reach, and then after the 3rd strike, that's when you pop in the 7-sided strike. That of course gives the seven-sided strike its fullest damage potential, because you're getting the 29% increased damage here for 3 seconds, and then of course you are getting the 40% damage here, increased damage here after the third strike of your deadly reach. Giving your giving your seven-sided strike, its full damage. I can actually crit for about 4 to 5 million. It really depends, but my maximum critical hit damage is at about 5 million. Alright, so the third skill, I'm using a Breath of Heaven with the rune Circle of Scorn. Now the only reason that I'm using Breath of Heaven is because I've found a helmet which is called a Eye of Peshkov. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that correctly. Eye of Peshkov. As you can see on the orange tooltip, it reduces the cooldown of Breath of Heaven by 49%. So add to that the 39.75% cooldown from all of my items, and you can basically almost spam the Breath of Heaven. Now, of course, what I thought of that is what I mean is the reason that I chose the rune is, well, you can spam Breath of Heaven, then why not just do damage out of it? As you can see, Breath of Heaven also sears enemies for 505% weapon damage as holy. So basically, you're healing yourself, and at the same time, you're doing a small AOE damage to your enemies. As you can see, it's not that huge, but it's a really good radius, almost as big as this as this waypoint circle over here. It's pretty good actually, and I could crit on that skill for about 4 million damage. So it's pretty good in my opinion. Right, for my second skill, for my last skill, I'm using the Mantra of Healing simply because of the rune Time of Need, which increases our resistance to all damage by 20%. So this is really helpful in terms of survivability when it comes to Torment level 1. And of course, add to that the regeneration of 4,126, and of course, if we activate that for 3 seconds, we are getting a a absorption for 47,742 damage for 3 seconds. Now for our passive skills, as you can see, the two skills that I have here is really defensive. The first one is Seize the Initiative, which increases our armor by 30% of our dexterity. So our armor now is pretty good. We have a 5,364, which means a damage mitigation of 60.51. So if you can raise your armor, by using in your gear or in your in your skills, do so, because we all know that armor actually mitigates everything, including every single elemental damage on the game. Alright, for the next, I'm using Resolve. Damage you deal reduces the damage by 20% for 2.5 seconds. So that's again a really helpful passive skill, in terms of survivability and taking less damage from mobs. And of course, I'm using the Beacon of Ethar, reduces all cooldowns by 20%. The reason being, what we'd really want to do here is be able to spam Blinding Flash and spam SSS, and be able to use them as often as possible. And for the last, I'm using the Mystic Rhythm. I think in my opinion, this is really one of the most OP skill in the game, because of the fact that it increases your your next damage spirit spender by 40%. So it increases the seven-sided strike, the damage of the seven-sided strike a lot, especially so if you are using the sudden assault as your rune. As you can see, there's 6,477. That is a huge amount of damage. Alright, so with that said, let's get into our Paragon levels before I forget. For my core, I put everything or almost everything on Vitality, because we really need to be tanky since we are melee and we have a very minimum amount of skills that we could use that are really viable on Torment level 1, especially so the ranged ones. So as you can see, we have a 253k life Of course, I put some points on the movement speed because I really want to move, you know, as much as fast as possible, so that we could clear areas, what do you call this, as fast as possible. All right, for our offense, I maxed out the cooldown reduction, as you can see, 10%, simply because, like I've said before, we need to be able to use the SSS, the blinding flash, or the serenity as often as possible. And with the extra 2 points, I put everything on the critical damage. On our defensive side, I put everything on resist all, simply because, well, this is Torment level 1, and we really need a lot of resistances. If you could get resistance to almost all of your gear except your weapons, do it. And of course, I put the remaining 2 points on the life regeneration. And for our utility, I put everything on the life on hit, simply because it really helps in terms of survivability. And I put the rest of the points on the area damage, because we're not using that much of a resource. The only resource that we're using is, of course, the SSS. All right, so let's go into our gear. All right. So first, I've got this helm. It's called the Eye of Peshkov. Generally, what you really want in a helm is dexterity, vitality, and resist all. And if you can get a socket there, get a socket there. But I believe that you cannot roll those 4, because I've tried having like 4 stats, and I've tried re-rolling 1 stat. The other stat will not roll a socket unless another stat is removed. For example, in those 3. If you remove the only time that you'd get socket is if you either remove the all resist, if you either remove the vitality, and if you either remove the dexterity. But any other stats, you know, it will not roll a socket. But anyway, I'm using this one simply because of the orange tooltip that says reduce cooldown of Breath of Heaven by 49%. So that could basically let us spam the Breath of Heaven almost instantaneously. Or almost all the time. Alright, for my what do you call this? For my shoulders, I'm using this one. It's a rare shoulder, but it has a high amount of dexterity, 399, high amount of vitality, 361, and an absurd amount of resistance to all elements, which is 89%. And of course, my favorite, reduces cooldown of all skills by 6%. Alright, and when it comes to socket, I put a diamond gem here for a reduced cooldown of all skills by 11%. Alright, for my amulet, I'm using this one, high vitality, all resist 83%, and I re-rolled 1 stat into having a critical hit chance by 7.5. Of course, one of the, what I call this, of course, another one of the stats is the 990 life per hit, which will help us a lot. As you can see in our critical hit, we are doing pretty good with our critical hit chance. We are doing a 40.50% on our critical hit chance, and we are doing a 304% on our critical hit damage, which is really good. Now for my bracers, I have already I've already replaced the Lacuni with this one, because you know the Lacuni is not going to or we're not going to be able to make it successfully on Torment level 1 just by using the Lacuni alone. As you can see, high roll of Dex, good roll of Vitality, and a not so good roll with resistance to our elements, to all elements. As you can see, I've tried re-rolling it, and I've tried to really perfecting it, but this is the highest that I could reroll before getting into almost 200k 200k gold per roll. So I was really contented with 69% resistance to all elements. But if you can get it to 80 plus, if you can get it higher, get it higher. And of course, do not forget critical hit chance. Add some critical hit chance there. 5% is good, but if you can get it above 5.5, you know, above 5%, I'm sorry, please do so, because that will increase your general damage significantly. For my armor, I'm using I'm using this. It has no resistance, but it has a good chunk of dexterity and vitality. As you can see there, 405 dexterity, 366 vitality, so OP. Plus, it has a 3 socket. On those 3 sockets, I just put, you know, all dexterity gems. Alright, for my gloves, I'm using this one. You know, I find it really hard replacing this one because it gives me so much damage. As you can see, critical hit chance, perfect 10%, critical hit damage almost perfect 49%, and we have a huge amount of dexterity and a huge amount of armor, 281. Although it doesn't have any life and resistances, the armor really makes up for the loss. As you can see, 200 we have a total of 517 total armor just in the gloves alone. So it's still worth it in my opinion. Alright, for my 2 rings, I'm still using this 2 uber damage rings. As you can see, critical hit chance 6, critical hit damage 46%, plus an average damage of 26 to 41 damage. And so with the other one, critical hit chance, critical hit damage, and an average damage. I find it really difficult to replace these 2 rings. These are of course legacy, simply because they just give me so much damage, and when you're doing higher level torments, you don't really want to spend too much time in killing mobs. That's why I really can't replace this, or I haven't really found a suitable legendary ring to replace these 2 right here. For my pants, I'm using this one. This is actually pretty bad because this is the Ina legacy. Generally, what you would really want is a good roll of dexterity, good roll of vitality, and a good roll of high resist all. And if you can get a 2 socket there, get it. But what's more important is those 3 type of attributes that I just mentioned. Get resist, get life, and then get dexterity. Alright, for my boots, I'm still using the legacy boots, simply because I haven't really found a good pair of boots that I could replace this with. Generally, what I would really want is kind of like what this has, but actually the vitality is really low. Good amount of dexterity, good amount of vitality, a high roll of resist all, and if you could get a movement speed of 12%, get it. But generally, even though if you don't have the movement speed, if you could get a high roll of those 3 things, then get it. I haven't really found one, so yeah, I'm still using this one. For my weapon, I'm using this one, a level 70 Scarbringer, simply because that it has a huge, life per hit bonus. As you can see, it's 2,459. That is a pretty high, chance for our survivability. The other stats are kind of meh. I'm not really fond with the spirit regeneration or the chance to inflict bleed damage for 399%, weapon damage for 5 seconds. That is hardly noticeable, so I'd probably change one of those stats. I'm not exactly sure yet, but the cost for changing a level 70 legendary item, or enchanting or re-enchanting a level 70 legendary item, is just too huge. So I've not been able to re-roll the stats yet. And for my other weapon, I'm using this one, simply because of the huge damage that it gives us, plus it's socketed, plus it has a high roll of dexterity, plus it has a high roll of vitality, so giving us a huge amount of survivability to our character. So at first I was using this one, but obviously this rare weapon obviously outshines it by a lot. As you can see, it has a really high roll of dexterity, a really high roll of vitality, and it gives us a huge amount of survivability. Alright, so that's about it when it comes to gearing your monk. Let's go to our stats. So like I said, 40% on our critical hit chance, and we are doing a 304% on our critical hit damage. Our armor is at 5,364, which means a damage mitigation of 60.51%. Ideally, you really want a high armor here because, like I've said before, armor mitigates every damage in the game. And of course, we are not doing too good with our resist all. As you can see, it's only at most of it is only at 800-ish. We have our arcane holy we have our arcane and holy resistance at 974, which is good. Ideally, what we really should shoot for is a resist all of at least 900 and above. Alright, so what else? Our maximum life is at 253k, and life per second is at 9,632, which is pretty good, and our life per hit is also pretty good. We are doing 7,860 life per hit. we are not doing pretty good with our magic find. As you can see, it's just 24%. Alright, so I think I've talked, wait, hold on, I forgot about my switch rings. I mean switch amulets. Now, I have 2 amulets here that I really switch out depending on the depending on what type of elite or champion packs that I am actually facing. If I am facing a champion or a champion pack or an elite pack which primarily does lightning damage, I switch out to this one, so that instead of being damaged by their lightning, we are instead healed by a 12% amount prevented, you know. So that actually helps a lot in terms of survivability against elite and champion packs that are doing lightning damage. Now, if the enemy is doing primarily an arcane damage, I pop in this one. As you can see, prevent all arcane damage taken and heal yourself for 21% amount of the damage prevented. So the way you use this, the way I use this is that if the enemy pops in an arcane, I actually stand on the point where the arcane rotates, and yeah, and I'm taking, you know, I'm not taking any damage at all, and I'm actually healing a lot. And yeah, so if you find amulets like this, you may want to keep them in your inventory so that you can switch them out and, you know, add some more survivability to your character. Alright, I have talked for 21 minutes. Let's get into some gameplay. Let's get into the Festering Woods. I do apologize, guys, if I haven't really made any videos lately. You know, work has been piling up, and you know, I haven't really found the time to make any videos. Alright, so we are doing not that good. As you can see, this is only trash mobs, but our damage is really low. As you can see, it's only at 250k, 50k. It pops up to how much is that? 300k when I pop in the what do you call this? When I pop in the what do you call this? The blinding flash. So yeah, if you can get your damage higher, that's what I suggest. You know, get a socket and then, you know, get your damage as high as possible. As you can see, our critical hit chance varies. What I mean is our critical hit damage varies. It goes for 400k to 300k. You know, it really depends on which hand or on which weapon that the damage landed. But let's get into the dungeon so that, you know, we could get some elite pack. Where is the dungeon? So yeah, in my previous build, I actually have a dashing strike so that I could move faster around the map. But what I found out when I was playing, okay, here we go. But what I found out when I was playing Torment level 1 is that what you really need is more survivability. Alright, so let's get these mobs first. So as you can see, we can spam the, what do you call this? We can spam the Breath of Heaven, healing us and then damaging the enemies for 505 weapon damage if we could get a critical. So yeah, as you can see there, there was a critical. It was 3 million. But if we could crit while the blinding flash is up, hold on, let's just do it. Alright, a blinding flash and then, well, okay, I didn't see it. Did you guys see it? Let's do it again. Alright, 2 million right there. Alright, didn't crit. I'm pretty sure that I could crit for around 4 million. Alright, so that's 3,999, almost 4 million. Alright, so where is that elite? Oh god. Hold on, alright. Let's get some elite. Where are they? Okay, so here we go. So it's Desecrator, Poison, and what is it? And it's fast. Okay. Here we go. So let's pop in the combo. So as you can see, 4 million damage there from the what do you call this? From the SSS. Alright, let's try and do it. Let's try to do it again. Blinding flash, and then 1, 2, 3, and then hit 5 million. 5 million from the SSS. So that's actually the combo that I'm using. Every time I pop in the blinding flash, I hit for 3 times, 1, 2, and 3, and then pop in the SSS for maximum damage output. So we're doing pretty well. What do you call this, in terms of damage, and we are not taking, you know, that much time. What do you call this? When we're dealing with what do you call this? Elite mobs. Oh yeah, I forgot we have the Empower Shrine. That's why it's fast. But no, yeah, generally I'm still doing pretty good when it comes to, what do you call this? Oh, whoa! Okay, so we've got a legendary belt. I'm going to, hold on. Let's just finish this, what do you call this? Trash mobs, and I'm going to identify that. Okay, so let's identify that. I wasn't expecting that. I hope it's good. Dexterity, vitality, life, face of no resist. But I could roll the 12% life for a resistance, and this would be good. But I want the deadly reach. I don't want the Fist of Thunder. But anyway, I'll probably look into this and probably reroll something for. I'll probably reroll the 12% life for all resist. So, but anyway, so that's about it for me, guys. So thank you so much for watching. If you guys enjoy the content, please like, comment, and subscribe. And as always, I'm gonna see you guys on the next part of my video. Have a good one. Doing a pretty bad life on my map. Hold on, I haven't finished the skills yet for my mantra. I'm using the mantra of retribution. Now, the only reason that I'm using the mantra of retribution is to get the rune